I'd like to welcome everyone to the Side Room Gallery and the exhibition of the students who are graduating from our independent studio program. I'm Wendy Welch, I'm director of the school, and the ISP program, Independent Studio Program, is a one-year program that students do after they've already had a diploma or a degree. It's a nice chance. We think of it as a kind of segue from being a student to being a professional artist. And we have 4 students. And what we do is we meet, Zane or myself meet with the student every 2 weeks and talk about their work with them. And then they also get mentors. 6 artists, professional artists, come 3 per semester. So they get to hear all different kinds of opinions, some of them contradictory, and I always hear, but so-and-so said this about my work, and then this other person said this about the work. But part of that is to mature as an artist, to sift through all the different ways people look at your work, because when you put your work out there in the world, there's going to be many different people looking at your work. So it was quite a process. Almost every 2 weeks or 3 weeks they had a guest spending a good part of a day looking through all their work. So, and I just want to say that I'm so impressed. The work just really looks fantastic. They really did an amazing job, everyone. So I'd like to introduce the artists. This Bonnie is here, if you want to just wave. So Bonnie did these works, these beautiful geometric works over here. And then Tanta did the watercolors, so we use watercolors here, as well as the sculpture. And there's a sculpture outside. And Karen did these pieces on here. And then Sarah did these drawings here and this drawing there. And also, if you want to walk through upstairs, the studio spaces. So one thing that's part of the program is each of the artists gets a studio space with 24-hour access to the space, so that it really does create a kind of immersion, because you're just there all the time. Well, almost every day. It's like a job. And I felt that it was such a pleasure to watch how the artists took it as a job, and also to see for our younger students or people who are just starting the program, for them to see what it means to be like an artist, and that's something that they could work their way up to. That it's not just a matter of like doing one piece and forgetting it, but to really immerse yourself. And this is the result of a year. And this is only a small portion of the work that was actually done over the year, but this is what we've chosen to show in the gallery. And Zane has worked with a few of the students as well, so he's going to say a few words.
Thanks, Wendy. I think you actually said it, which was this independent studio program for the last year that they've been in. And I met with the students once every 2 weeks for 1 hour. So that means I was only with you guys 12 hours over this last year. And but what Wendy did say was that it is a segue. This year is a segue between being a student and being an artist independently practicing art. And I think we were totally successful, because you guys, you did it. You every one of you moved from being a student, and what Wendy's talking about here, your work ethic, working in the studio, the development of the work. Yeah, you get to tick yourself off now.
You're ready for the world.
You're ready for the world. Absolutely ready for the world. Thank you. I won't say anything else other than that, but it was such a privilege working with the 3 people in the room that I worked with. I wasn't with Tara, and I was with the other 3 individuals, and I learned a lot from them. It was a great experience. Thank you. Okay, and congratulations to all of you.
It was great working with you, Tara. Okay, well, thanks.
Thank you.
Well, working on drywall, I discovered that by when I worked in the closet. And I found out through a happy accident that I could push pins into it and that I could score into it with an X-Acto knife, and I could actually draw with a knife. And the plaster would peel away, and it would leave the drywall underneath, and it just created this whole new texture and a whole new layer. And to me, that was just, it was fascinating discovering that I didn't have to use the traditional pen and ink or graphite to make a drawing. And also working with the knife, I was more limited in what I could do with the knife, because it's very difficult to make a complete circle or to kind of let my hand be as free. So that was interesting too. So I really love working with drywall, and then pushing pins in and pushing them into different degrees and wrapping wire around them and then adding gold leaf and things like that to turn the drawing into a more three-dimensional drawing. And there was also something kind of creepy about it too, because when you push pins into something or you're scoring with a knife, it kind of created this sort of icky, visceral feeling in me that I could potentially be hurting something. So on a lot of levels, it just really worked for me, along with the drawings and you know, using the text and the really minuscule marks to create form has always fascinated me. I've always loved working with my hands, and I've always worked very closely, even as a child, you know, fascinated by sewing little bits and pieces of cloth together and making doll clothes and you know, or gluing bits of cardboard together to make a chair or something like that for my doll. I've always loved doing that, and working with the drawings and they're very map-like. Lots of people say, you know, it makes them think that they're maps. And I suppose they are, although I'm not drawing them as maps. But they are. They're stream of consciousness dialogue that I have with myself. But really, it's about form for me, and it's about putting what I'm feeling in the moment. I have a difficult time being in the world and being in my body. And what I've discovered is that when I make this kind of work, when I make work, it's a testament to me that I do exist. And that probably sounds very strange, but it is, and I can step back and I can say, and you know, this is something that I have done. And I like that. I like that tangible, concrete piece of work on drywall that lets me know that I'm here and that what I do is important to me anyway. And I'm mesmerized, I'm compelled, I'm obsessed, and I think I'll be doing that for a long time. I can't imagine not doing it. So yeah, I get excited about coming into the studio, and I get a lot of comfort from it too, knowing that that's how I'm going to spend my day. You know, I feel like a pretty lucky person. Yeah.
Where did you start from?
Well, I started from photos on the ferry of the machinery and of the fencing and chain and anything else that I saw on the outside deck that wasn't accessible by people. And I started painting black and white paintings from those photos. I would crop them until I got really into a small space, and then paint them, and then after I'd done about 10 of those, I started making collages and intuitive collages from the shapes that I'd already painted. And one of those was this design, which I really started to really like that, and it's a cut up version of the chain fence behind the anchor chains. So it's a cut up version of that. And I've used that to highlight the color and used warm and cool colors to bring out the design. And so that when you look at them, the shapes hop back and forth across the black and white one. So you can see the shapes, the after image, right? So warm and cool is what I'm going for in each one, and I'm just using all different colors to do that. And then it's in triptych so that the black and white, it separates them, but it also invites you to compare the colors that I've used in each side painting.
So yeah, this is my series. It kind of stemmed out of my interest for technology and kind of its interpretation of images and artwork as through technology and kind of the internet and all the images that we're exposed to all the time, and kind of the repetitive imagery that we're always exposed to, and our relationship to art because of that. So these paintings are all kind of exploring that idea of repetition and the colors that are found in technology and saturated imagery, so like the magenta, the cyan, and the yellow, and then kind of like the degradation that happens with that when they're kind of printed off or seen through different types of media. And so I think you kind of get that sense of layering and kind of the variation that happens, even though it's repeating the same action over and over again. So all of my paintings start from the basic grid that I set up on the canvas, and then I build color on top of that, and kind of the final products are my kind of problem solving for the painting, and kind of solving through how I'm going to deal with this and building it up and breaking it down, and kind of that's what you see on the wall there. So yeah.
So, Afrin, this work is based on a new series that I'm doing called Shift in Perception. And I started last year trying to figure out how to fall into a two-dimensional piece of paper and make it three-dimensional. And with these two pieces of work, I now combine sculptural work and watercolor painting and everything that I know. So I'm cutting, I'm gluing, I'm putting on, taking off, adding color, taking color away. And I consider it a gift to people who are going to look at them, because I want them to enjoy the art. I don't want them to be serious. And I'm not too sure where all the shapes come from, but they're shapes that I continually use in everything that I do. And that's kind of it. I'm really pleased with what I've done. It's been a really good year at Visa. Thank you.